After all, they're not working, and they really don't make much sense. Joining me now are Ryan Grimm and Angela Rye. Thank you both for coming on the show.
Thank you, Rev.
Thank you.
Angela, let me start with you. Why is the right wing, why is it that the right wing seems all over the place really in attacking this president?
Well, Rev, I think you can attest to the fact that the right wing is really all over the place on more than just where they are with the president. We can't seem to have them align on gun control, on immigration, on women's rights, on reproductive rights, on gay marriage. You can go down a laundry list of things, even including outreach to people of color. Right now you have a representative that says, it's okay, I'm sorry that I called Latinos wetbacks, but that was okay back in my day. So they're even all over the place in their overall messaging. So there's no reason, or there's no question as to why they're all over the place about the president.
Ryan, last night at a fundraiser, the president told the crowd, quote, I would be dishonest if I didn't say that it would be a whole lot easier to govern if I had Nancy Pelosi as speaker. Clearly, he's now scheduled that he's going out to help the Democrats win back the House in the midterm elections next year. The Republicans are already bizarre, as I've shown some examples. I suppose by this time next year, they'll be outright delirious if he's on the road trying to win the House back.
Sure. I mean, they hate when he goes out on the campaign trail for any purpose. When he ran for re-election, they were consistently criticizing him for campaigning while, you know, there was whatever manufactured crisis was going on in Washington at the time, whether it's debt ceiling or sequester, you know, whatever was happening. Why aren't you in Washington handling this? Well, it's a presidential election. You know, he's going to campaign. And then when he would go out and campaign on different issues where he's pushing legislation, whether it's guns or immigration or whatever, you know, Mitch McConnell will come out and complain that he's out campaigning, he should come back and lead. So you know they don't like when he gets out in the country at all. But you know, it shouldn't be a kind of a radical statement to say that yes, it would be easier for him to govern if Democrats controlled Congress. And the only way that he's really going to get to put into place the final pieces of whatever he wants his legacy to be is if Democrats do control Congress in the last 2 years.
Now, Angela, we're seeing that he's scheduled more events than he did midterm in his first term, in 2009 and 2010. Does that indicate that he thinks he can win back the House for the Democrats? And do you think he can win back the House for the Democrats?
Rev, there's no question about it. I think the president has always been very deliberate on who he endorses. They are, you know, for sure winners. And I think that the fact that he's saying, okay, there's 17 seats maybe that we'd have to pick up. If I get on the campaign trail now, do 8 events now, we can start making sure that folks know what it means to have a cooperative Congress. And so this really is less about political stunts. It's more about what makes really good sense to make sure we move an agenda forward.
Ryan, when you look at the fact that he has reached out to the Republicans, yet they have repeatedly snubbed him. Top GOP leaders turned down an invitation to attend the screening of Lincoln with Steven Spielberg and Daniel Day-Lewis. Speaker Boehner has turned down an invite to every state dinner. Boehner also refused to have his picture taken with the president at last year's holiday party. And the House GOP rebuffed the president's request to address a joint session of Congress, asking him to pick another day. So no matter what he's done, no matter what way he extended himself or tried to reach out, they've tried to snub him, they've tried to call him names, even if it contradicted the other name they called him. I mean, this is a exercise in political absurdity.
Right. He's hoping, and what he said in his at the fundraiser is that he hopes that they'll back off of that absurdity, at least on issues relating to immigration and gun control, that they'll see it as in their best interest to go along with immigration reform. Hopefully he thinks he can get something done on that. And there are a lot of Republicans who would like to see something done on gun control, for the simple reason that they've kind of gone out on a limb now, and if something doesn't get done, then they might get primaried back at home. So there's some interesting incentives lined up that Obama alluded to where you might see immigration and gun control legislation get done. But you're right, on everything else, they don't even want to watch a film with the guy.
But Angela, when Ryan talks about they may get primaried, it appears that the House Tea Party caucus is on the outs. I mean, Slate reports that at its height, the caucus had 60 members, but 10 of them lost their 2012 elections. Today, the membership page for the caucus is defunct. The caucus hasn't met since July of 2012. Will this make it easier for the president to get some things done with the Republicans with the weakening of the Tea Party?
Well, I think with or without the Tea Party, he's got a better shot. The Tea Party originated in 2010 when folks started that very toxic rhetoric about let's take our country back. Nobody has time for that anymore. That is not a policy or a position that moves any type of solution forward. So I think that with or without the Tea Party, that kind of rhetoric is not going to work anymore, and we don't have much to worry about whether the Tea Party is here or not.
You know, Ryan, there's an expression that's used saying don't talk about it, be about it. And one of the things a lot of people took note is when the president announced that he would take a 5% pay cut to show solidarity with federal workers hit by the automatic budget cuts. And the Washington Post says it might be a strong political move. Let me quote the Washington Post. By taking a voluntary cut in his own pay, no matter the size or amount, President Obama is forcing the sequester back into the news and back to the top of people's minds, at least for a day or two.
Right, but I think it could backfire, though, because, you know, what the president wants the sequester to be repealed. You know, he thinks that these cuts are too draconian and too blunt across the board. And by taking his own pay cut, it sort of implies, hey, look, we're all going to take these cuts. We're all going to do this. It sort of implants the sequester as almost a fait accompli. It's not something that's going to be repealed. So,
Angela, you're nodding your head. You don't agree with that?
I don't agree with that because it wasn't just the president. It was also Attorney General Holder. It was also Secretary Hagel. It was also Secretary Kerry. So I think that what they're saying is these are tough, but we don't want the hard-working Americans that are in these regular government jobs to be suffering the most from this sequester.
Well, what it has not been is any Republicans. I want to see when they're going to say they're going to take a cut since they caused the cuts. Don't talk about it. Be about it.
Fair enough.
I mean, Angela, you quote Jay-Z. I got to quote somebody. Ryan Graham and Angela Ryan, thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you, Rev.
Ahead, First Lady Michelle Obama carries out a 5-year tradition today, plus the shocking tape of a college basketball coach abusing players. Why I'm calling a personal foul on some right-wingers tonight. And 5 years ago tonight, Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. His son joins us on how the dream lives on. Stay with us.